This podcast is brought to you by Itopia Life for the finest medical marijuana in town and around. Hit up Itopia 10A West Kings House Road. The very best medical marijuana dispensary around. Bar none. This podcast is also brought to you by
Lothian's Boutique. Follow them on Instagram at Lothian's Boutique. You can check them out in Portmore at 23 West Tradeway. That's 23 West Tradeway. And guys, please use my code Ariane10 to get 10% off your next bundle purchase. That's Ariane10 for your next bundle purchase. 10% off.
This podcast is also brought to you by Sharp Cut Barbers for the sharpest of cuts. Shing. Hey, must I shing with you too? No, you're not too line up, man. Kind of weird. Yeah. The sharpest of cuts. Hit up Sharp Cut Barbers located at 9 Bronstroff Square. Fix merch, people. Cop fix merch at teespring.com/store/the fix JA. Ladies, help me out with the slashes going forward, please. The black tee with the white logo, the blue tee with the faded logo, our brand new Fix mask, as well as our Fix cup can all be had at teespring.com
/stores/
the Fix JA. We can do this, as a team. We can do this. All right. Have you ever had any rough patches where your personality and say
like it clashed with
with an artist or artist crew?
Not necessarily. Yeah.
Well, I've had a couple of incidents. I mean, for example, with some prominent female dancers who shall remain nameless.
Do tell, Shadow. Do tell.
Let's
No, man.
deduce.
It was a scenario where they came to the studio, and I guess, in regular dancehall culture, they just come and they just and they just carry on and do their thing. And I was at the studio and I was like, young ladies, no, this is not that type of environment.
for father this.
Right. And they literally look and say, who him? And where did get him from? Yo, don't bother with me today, yeah? And I was just like, listen, I'm really not sure what this is about, but all I'm saying, this environment is not about that life, all right? So I'm just asking you ladies nicely to just turn it down a few notches. Right.
And I'm sure that was rejected.
Initially,
Yeah.
but the truth be told is that they visited the studio several times thereafter, and every time they came to the studio, it's like, yo, where's Shadow? Him is there.
So why you never
And
try
they just come and they just behave though.
I mean, you know what's funny? Most people, when they go into a situation that is that the behavior, the culture is
Right.
overwhelming, to say the least. It's a dominant culture. Why you never really adapt to it? So assimilate into the laid back. Because we know you, Shadow. You're
Right.
not a real. You're cool, but you're not
That cool.
button down.
Yes, I'm not the super socialite.
You're very there's still some sort of formality to you and
Where people that say a prim and proper.
yeah. So why you never
So they be go out that much.
yeah, so why you never try and assimilate into patois and weed smoking and drinking and them vibe there?
Well, firstly, I try to maintain my own identity. That's important, right? And this is who I am, and I didn't see the need for me to try to change to fit into something that was not me, right? The weed smoking is not me. The hardcore drinking and the
But even
that
that's a
whole
good thing,
setup,
even
right.
with the situation you just described with the studio,
right.
why you never just make it go on, make it easy?
No, well, the thing is that it never got to a point where it became combative or physical. I mean, I pretty much just stated my stance, and they understood, and I just kept it moving.
But most people would just allow it to go on and say, well, that's just them, and just allow the behavior to carry on.
Well, as a matter of fact, I don't have an issue, but the thing is that, especially inside the studio, where if you're trying to operate a professional environment, then you want to keep things a particular way. But for example, when they were out in the studio yard, then that's different. You can do whatever.
Right. Time
Because,
and
you know,
place.
we understand that particular space there is for that. The smoking and the chilling and the drinking and the music and all the other things associated with that kind of vibe.
Raymond's.
Right. Yeah, the ravings and all of that. But then when you're inside the studio itself, that's a space for work. Right.
Dominance.
Dominant.
Dominance.
So that was it. But everybody, and I think over time, everybody kind of, we understood each other. So, you know, people be at the studio and I'm coming to the studio and it's like, yo, shut up. And everybody's like,
Seriously, like teacher and student. Seriously.
I remember that being the case, especially with Demarco and watching like some episodes of Talk Yuh Mind and everything. They like people didn't even know and remember this, but Shadow was a cast member of Talk Yuh Mind. If you seen the credits that Shadow going like this
unbegrudgingly. As a matter of fact, I will tell you exactly what happened with that. Because I mean, I was not supposed to be either in the show or on the cast.
How them get you to do that? Shadow?
So what happened is that Maniac from the Maniac Visuals, who was in charge of our visuals at the time, he said to me, Shadow, guess what? We're just trying to do a test shot to see what it's going to look like before I shoot everybody. You can't just stand there. And I'm like, bro, I'm really not interested in doing this. And he's like, no, man, just stand there. Let me just get a test shot. So at least I see what it would look like when everybody else come to film. So I was like, all right, cool. So he's like, just do something, wave, something, do anything. And I was like, and he's like, all right, cool.
Shadow does the most awkward piece of opening credit I've ever seen. Shadow just
So I never take you out, eh?
No, so here's the thing now. Did the thing and he tested it, then he shot everybody else's, and then when he put it together now, he was like, Demarco saw the shot and was like, what is that? So Demarco is like, is what that? And Maniac kind of click at it. And Demarco said, yo, I shot that. Put it in. So Maniac was like, no, Demarco should gonna be upset. Marco was like, yo, me not care. I'm gonna fight me. Put it in.
Sad.
do it now, you're dead.
But that was such a fun moment in dancehall. You know,
was,
like
though,
why
yes.
was there any other reason, I guess, other than what we know, that made it in? Wait, but what we know and why? Why did they stop? Come not even remember why.
Some people don't know.
Well, how it started, how it really started is initially that Demarco had an idea where he wanted to do a reality show. And the show would have been called I Used to Be Fat. Because that was the original song
Yeah, remember the song
that he recorded. A song called I Used to Be Fat. Right. Now, what happened, we said, okay, Demarco, fine. This sounds like a grand idea. Let's execute it. Then we shot like the initial pilot and what happened? We shot the initial pilot and I think we liked it and we said, okay, cool. This is not bad. Then we did a second episode and I think it was the second or the third episode. We said, okay, Demarco, remember now, because I said to him, I'm going to put you on a regiment, which means that, you know, we're going to get you to where you ought to be in terms of your weight. We just bring your weight down. So you're going to cut off a lot of the carbs and a lot of the other things. And, you know, we're just going to have you eating like chicken breast and vegetable and water. Right? So he's like, all right, cool. Sounds like a plan. Now, what would happen is that
sounds like something you would say, Shadow.
he's doing this now. And I realize a few weeks in and I'm like, when Demarco, so we got to Spartan and when Demarco goes on the scale, I realize he's not losing any weight. He's gaining. I'm like, this makes no sense. How can you be doing all of this work and then you're gaining weight? So lo and behold, on one particular episode, I think we went to one of those spaces that sell jerk. And I said, okay, I'm going to go and take a look to see what the food looks like. While Demarco and the rest of the crew are there, and then Demarco goes to Jay Crazy, the producer, say, yo, look and see if Shadow gone. So Jay Crazy say, yeah, Shadow around here. So Demarco goes and orders a whole bunch of things. Extra chicken, pork, extra festival.
Your owner have give me everything.
It's like full house. So when I look now, like the lady saying, so half a chicken and quarter pound of pork. So I come back around and I'm hearing that. And I'm like, what? No. Stop. No. I said, no, actually scratch everything on that. So here's what. Give him a quarter of jerk chicken.
Breasts.
Right? No festival. And 1 bottle of room temperature water. And Demarco was pissed.
I would be too.
Not the festival.
Yeah, he was not pleased about it.
Oh no.
Right, but nonetheless, so let me just fast forward through. So we decided that, okay, clearly this is not going to work. So we need to do something else.
Yeah, I used to be.
Right.
You need to actually used to be.
Right. So we realized this is not going to work. So, and then we were there one day and Richie Feelings came in the studio and said, yo, let us talk a bag of thing. And he started talking. And then I think it was Biggie from Raz and Biggie came to the studio and said, wait, is what is? Confession Tuesday? And then Richie Feelings said, yeah, I talk my mind. And I said, Maniac.
Bingo.
Maniac. So I said, Maniac, just record everything. And you record everything. And then we watch the footage and we said, okay, here what we'll do. How about we call the show Talk Yuh Mind?
Aha!
So we said we call the show Talk Yuh Mind. And as I said, Richie spoke about a whole bunch of things. Richie Feelings. Richie Feelings is, he comes and he brings all of that. He has the art of storytelling down to a science. So he came and, he was just telling these stories. I mean, I'm in the back working, but nonetheless, as crack, I was like, Richie is just a different personality altogether.
And Shadow cracking up his.
Yes. So yeah, and we shot like about 2 episodes of that and we put it out there. And we realized that people were very receptive to it. So we said, okay, cool. We just adopt this new format and use it. And, things just took off from there. And then I guess many artists started to see it. I started to reach out to a lot of people and said, listen, we're shooting this episode. And whatever was controversial and happening in the space, I would always, reach out to the people and said, come to the studio, come and tell us your story. Just give us your side. You don't have to, no pretty thing. Just come and just talk your mind. Right. And, and that's what happened. So then you just see everybody, they walk and talk. The guy from the roof at Zip or the pole at Zip. Tanto Blacks. Everybody just came and Quick Cook. Right. And Quick Cook came and coined that bread situation.
That thing was like a launching pad for people like Walk and Talk.
Yes, it was.
Even Quick Cook.
Yes, it was. It served them well in their career, and it actually did work for Demarco because it kind of helped to catapult him in terms of his popularity and his personality, because people get to see another side of Demarco and realize that
he's a fun guy.
Yes, he's actually a pretty fun, chill person to be around.
Speaking of,
you guys had a falling out.
I wouldn't say we had a falling out.
Well, it was in the start.
Well, it was in the start. I will say this, not to cut your shadow. It's one of the most amicable splits I've seen between manager and artist. Like, it was just there and it just went away. You never really hear not much about it.
Because
it's probably by design.
Yes, I never fed into that because I believe that, as a manager, if there is an issue with yourself and an artist, you should be able to air that out in private and not throw things out there. But, I guess Demarco, being an artist in that moment, thought, he needed to put that out there in the space. So people ask me, I mean, all the popular media outlets reach out and ask me, and I just said, I wish him all the best. And I just left it at that. I never had anything in furtherance to say, because I don't believe that because you and someone, especially someone that you worked with, you and them probably just don't see eye to eye on certain things, that you need to go out there and be throwing all your business out there and just be berating the person. I don't see the need for that. So I just decided I'm not gonna do that.
So what was the thing that you couldn't say eye to eye on?
The festival.
No, it's you know, I really don't want to get into the specifics of it because the truth is that but it was nothing of any major note.
No,
I mean,
scandalous.
out of respect for Demarco and any other artists who I work with, I would want to throw their business out there, but you know, at the end of the day, I was not at fault. You know, I was just trying to.
Sure?
Would you admit as much?
Yeah.
No, if I was,
yours.
I would. You know, but I was just trying to ameliorate a situation.
Jesus.
Take a
What?
look.
Me not
Me never know that one. I don't know that one. We actually have to go take a look. Somebody, please.
Ameliorate means to
there.
make a situation
to make or something
Sit-
bad or unsatisfactory
better,
See,
right? To make a
Nah, but
situation
forget the word
better.
before I could have even.
Make something bad or unsatisfactory better. So
Right.
like you're trying to make something bad
Right.
for him
No,
better.
right. I was trying
Yeah,
to improve a bad situation.
Like it's
right.
a deal or like a music deal or something.
What is this?
Shada, you know what it was when you agreed to this.
No, but you see, what it is, as I said, the situation is what it is. And I was just trying to, as I said, just trying to make, improve a situation. And, you know, I guess sometimes, you know, not everybody is going to agree to the way things are done. And because of that, sometimes you just have to go your separate way. So, you know, it just got to a point where, you know, he just became very, very, hostile almost. And I was just like, listen, with all due respect, bro, I am not going to engage you in this level of hostility. So here's what, you know,
So was it a case where
I
he-
literally said that. I said, I'm not going to engage you in this level of hostility.
I believe that.
So,
Shada,
Yeah.
when you
you know,
said that.
have yourself a good evening. And I literally
Peace.
took up my bag and I left. That was it. But I mean, you know, it is what it is. I mean, I've seen him since then, and you know, he see me and he's hail me, shadow, and I said burnt because you know him say burn up, so I just say burnt. and right.
was it a case where like I mean
Yeah, but
did he reach out to you and say, well, it's like when things settled and things cooled down, emotions got out of it, like was it like, yo, Shada, I made a mistake, it's cool, can we be back friends again?
Initially is ego. I mean, as any artist would be. I mean, they're driven. I mean, dancehall is a very egotistical, testosterone-driven industry. So you have to understand every artist is going to be like that, especially the males. So I understood that, but I mean, as you said, once the dust settled, and I think everybody spoke to him,
To
he
try,
realized that he made some missteps.
yeah.
right.
And he did reach out, but I was just at a point where I'm like, you know, listen, I think, you know, this is just time for me to just keep it moving. And I kept it moving. But as I said, you know, due respect to Demarco as always. And in that same vein, I would just like to say that Demarco, for me personally, is probably one of the most quintessential artists I've ever worked with. Right?
I've heard that, like, people always have that to say about him whenever, like, them work with him.
Right.
Say he's uber talented. Probably the most talented
Easily
artist.
Easily one of the most
Jamaican
talented
university.
artists in the industry. I mean, when you see Demarco, like when he's in his zone and he comes to the studio and he's like, oh, I have an idea. And he comes and you see him and he goes and he's there and he's making the beat and you watch him creating that beat. Literally from thin air, just creating that beat, and he makes the beat, and then you see him there and he's there and he comes up with this melody and he's like, yeah, that's it. And then he says, okay, and you see him find the verse, and then he finds a second verse and he goes and puts it all together, and he's there when it's being mixed, the whole thing. And then when it's done, he's like, okay, so this is what the video is going to look like. And he gives you the whole storyboard of the video. And then the whole thing is shot. And then you see him there singing the song, performing it, doing all of these things. And you're like, whoa. He literally took that whole thing from thought to a tangible product. And that is not something many artists can do.